What's up, everybody? It's Friday, May 31st. Let's talk PlayStation. So let's talk game announcements, specifically game announcements for the PlayStation Vita, because I got some games this week. Rayman Legends is coming to the PlayStation Vita. That's awesome, right? But not only that, but also Flower is coming to PS Vita. If you remember Flower on PSN a couple years ago from that game company, really cool, you know, motion control, the flower and the pedals. Yeah, you see what I'm saying, right? But it's also coming to the Vita. If you remember, their first game, Flow, actually came out on the PSP. So it's interesting to see Flower come out on the PS Vita. It makes me think, you know, where's Journey going to go? Maybe Journey could come to the PS Vita. That'd be pretty cool. But also for a game announcement, Real Boxing is coming to PS Vita, and that is a iOS game. It's just another one of those iOS games that's making the jump over to Vita. Now, of course, a lot of people want, like, you know, full-scale retail games to come to the Vita, and so do I. Trust me, I want them. But it's not bad to have some small-scale mobile games to come to the Vita as well. I mean, the Vita does have, buttons. We have buttons, so we can obviously take advantage of that, much like Real Boxing is going to do so. And iPhone games could probably be a hell of a lot better if they were on Vita, because, you know, it does have the buttons. I mean, iPhones and Android phones, they're really powerful devices. I mean, they have, you know, Call of Duty on there, they have Dead Space, they have, you know, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City on there. So it's just a matter of bringing these games. It's good to have these games over to Vita, because then they can actually make use of things that gamers want, which is buttons, tactile feedback, trophies, PSN support, all that good stuff, you know? Now, of course, the only thing that sucks is, you know, Vita is not going to sell a lot of copies of the games that are brought over, but hopefully we see more of this. So these next two news stories are actually from last week, but I left them out because we were talking about Xbox One and PS4 and all that. Some people like to tell me, hey, Ryan, you forgot this, or you left out this news story. It's not that I forgot anything. I followed the industry quite well. It's just that I picked the best stories to talk about in length for certain episodes, but more on point to the topic. Need for Speed was announced. New Need for Speed for, you know, next generation systems and current gen. That's coming in November. I like Need for Speed. That's cool. I'm on board with that. And then also the really big thing that I was super pumped about is a spiritual successor to Super Stardust HD is coming out. That's awesome. Super Stardust HD is one of my favorite PSN games, and it's arguably one of the best PSN games on there, and it's also one of the earliest ones too. But it's awesome that it's getting a spiritual successor. That's not a direct successor, obviously, so it's certainly going to be different in veins of Super Stardust HD. It is going to be for the PlayStation 4, and it is exclusive to the PlayStation 4, but also the developer has another unannounced project that is again going to be exclusive for PlayStation 4. That's awesome. I love these guys. They make great games, so I'm ready to see what they're cooking up there. So E3 is coming up, and it's going to be awesome. There's going to be games, there's going to be announcements, but Sony is also going to have a conference on June 10th. They've announced that you're going to be able to watch their conference on your PlayStation Vita. That's awesome. They didn't announce how or where or what you're going to do, if there's an separate app. We don't know, but you can do it. It kind of reminds me how one year they actually remade the E3 show floor in home, so you could go to PS Home and actually walk around the show floor virtually. That was actually one of the better uses of home, but it's cool that they're letting you watch their conferences on, you know, PlayStation stuff. But it's also worth noting that Sony traditionally actually uploads their conference on PSN, so you can download it there and watch it in HD, so you know you've got options. So this next one we already heard before is like confirmed, but it's awesome that they're saying it in this manner. Remote play for, you know, PS4 and PS Vita. Remember, Sony said every PS4 game is going to be remote playable on PS Vita. Now they've actually said, and Shuhei Yoshida is confirming that it is mandatory that if you're going to make a PS4 game, it's mandatory that remote play work. As long as the game doesn't use the PlayStation 4's eye camera or anything like that, it's pretty much a requirement that any PS4 game is remote playable to PS Vita. That's so cool. And as long as it works with no button lag or anything like that, like, that's what I hate about remote play right now. I think remote play is totally useless right now, even if you can play games, because there's button lag. You can't play a game where you hit something and then it takes forever for the person in the game to do something. But you see what I'm saying, right? As long as they nail it right, like it's seamless and there's no button lag, this is awesome. This is going to be great. Because again, PS4 games on your Vita is awesome, and all you need is an internet connection, so you can do it from another person's house or wherever there's Wi-Fi. I doubt it'd be over 3G, but you can still do it away from your PS4. That's kind of the huge selling point of this thing. Even if you don't want to look at your TV, if you want to lay in bed and continue your game, that's really awesome. I mean, really think about this. Every game on PS4, so that means the next generation Grand Theft Auto, the next generation Fallout, the next generation Elder Scrolls, any amazing game that you can think of is going to be playable on Vita. So this one's kind of the big news story. As of right now, the Xbox One's getting slammed because of, the DRM it has and used game fees and always online. But now it's hinted from Jeff Keighley that the PS4 might actually have something like that. Sony has confirmed there's no always online on the PS4. You can play offline, but Jeff Keighley has said that he actually has some sort of inside notes that Sony does have technology that would, sort of incorporate a used game fee, much like Microsoft is doing. Once this news broke out, a NeoGAF forum member, I forgot his name, but he started a Twitter campaign, a full-on campaign basically. Everybody started tweeting these, Sony executives, PlayStation people, saying, look, we don't want this on our system. They did hashtag PS4 used games, hashtag PS4 no DRM, a full-on campaign of all these fans flocking to Sony executives saying we don't want this. Now, what's more interesting is that some of these Sony executives and Sony employees are replying, and they're actually replying pretty positively, which kind of alludes that they're not doing, DRM and used games and all that. Scott Rode and John Kohler are basically, they tweeted saying, oh, we love PlayStation fans, we love that you're talking to us, we're listening. That's good, right? That kind of alludes to them, basically saying, look, we're not going to do this stuff. I would hope so. I would really hope that Sony's looking at what Xbox One's doing and all the backlash they're getting and making this decision, because that's kind of what I think that they would be doing, because that's what I think they're doing, kind of standing back, letting Microsoft kind of take all this hits, and Sony makes the decision there of whether they should, incorporate a used game fee or not. But we still don't have like a concrete answer of what's going on here. Sony's just kind of, again, saying thanks for feedback and all that, but I hope they damn sure take that feedback and use it to their advantage, because again, this is another one of those things where they can not do something and send it out to customers saying, hey, PS4, we're letting you do all these things that Microsoft ain't. Now, of course, we're not in this business. We don't know what's getting said, who's doing what. It could be the console guys doing this, or it could be the publishers putting pressure on the console guys to incorporate this used game fee. But when you look at it this way, if Microsoft incorporates a used game fee, why would publishers be all right with letting Sony not do that? It gets complicated. It gets really complicated. Now, personally, I don't think Sony's going to do any of this. They've already said flat out, we're not doing always online. So that's out the door right there. In terms of used games, again, they're not giving us an answer, but they're kind of being very light-hearted about it. They're being nice about it. It just kind of alludes that they aren't going to do any of this stuff. Now, of course, all we can do is wait until we get an answer and only hope that Sony will make the right move and not incorporating all this stuff. And real quick, the last news story is that Kaz Hirai, CEO of Sony, was actually at All Things D, and he said the PS4 is all about gamers. We kind of knew that, but again, you can clearly tell Kaz is using the Xbox One announcement to his advantage in saying this stuff, and getting it out there and telling the media all this, and then news stories get posted and more people keep seeing this. Again, Sony's being very smart about this, and they're using all the Xbox One's faults to their advantage. Classy move, Kaz. Classy move. That concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Badecki. Thank you for talking with me, and I'll see you next Friday.